This is a modern smart switch. So here is the back of our switch. From the left to right, green is ground. First black it says load, and second black says line. So in our first scenario, we're going to hook it up where the power goes to the light first and comes to the switch second. So the black feed wire goes to your white switch wire. So your white is going to be your line, and your black is going to be the load. And of course the bare wire is the ground. We'll take our wire strippers, we'll strip it with our 14 gauge hole. So we'll go here in the country I was born in, we use American wire gauge. Okay, so we take the one that says line here, and we'll go to our white switch wire. The black feed wire goes to the white switch wire. And you can see our insulation is not quite even, so we'll strip it a little longer here. Use our 14 gauge hole. Go down a little bit further here. Oh, that's our 14 hole. That's our 14 hole right there. Okay, so we're taking our black, which is the line, and we're going to hook it to the power of the feed. The black feed wire at the light will go to your white switch wire, so we'll get our copper even at the top and our insulation even at the bottom. We'll take our orange wire nut and we'll make sure our insulation goes down into the bottom of the wire nut. And you'll see it's down in. Now we'll take our black load and go to the black wire that's going to go up to our light. Okay, our solid wire is a little long, so we'll just clip that off a little bit here. Get our insulation even at the bottom and our copper even at the top. Take our wire nut and we'll make sure our insulation goes up into the bottom of the wire nut. These are pre-tinned wires. And then we'll put our ground wire to the ground wire. Get the copper even at the end here like that. And we'll take our wire nut and we will just put them together here. So that is how the wires are hooked up. Like that. Okay, now we have another scenario here where we have two white wires, two black wires, and we have two ground wires. So first we'll get our two white wires together. strip with our 14 gauge hole. We'll get our 2 white wires, get our insulation even at the bottom, and our copper even at the top. Take our orange wire nut, make sure our insulation goes into the bottom, like that. And our white wires will go down into the bottom of our box here, out of the way. Okay. I can see our insulation is down inside our wire nut there. So we'll push our wires down to the bottom here. Then we have our 2 ground wires. And we'll clip them so that they are even here. And on our device, we have our green, which is the ground. So we'll take our green ground wire. We'll get our 3 ground wires together. Get all our copper even at the top and our insulation even at the bottom, like this here. Okay, get that one down a little bit. Get them all even. That was not quite even, so we'll just push it down. Now they're all even. Take our wire nut. Make sure they're tight. Push them down into our box like that. Now this is our black one coming in. So we'll get to our black one where it says line on the back of our device. So we'll strip with our 14 gauge hole. Okay, so this one is where it says line here. So we'll take and we'll get them our copper even at the end and our insulation even at the bottom, like that. So this wire is slightly long, so I'll just cut a tiny little smidgen off. So we'll get our copper even at the top and our insulation even on the bottom. Put our wire nut on, make sure our insulation goes into the bottom of our wire nut, like that. And we'll take our black load wire. This black one goes over to the light. And we'll get our wires together here, see how long they are, if we have to make any adjustments. Okay. They look like they line up really nicely. So we'll take our orange wire nut and make sure our insulation goes into the bottom of the wire nut the way we want it. So there it is hooked up. That's how you hook it up. And now we can fold our wires in a real situation. We'd fold our wires down into our box here. And we will look. You'll see where it says up here on the top. So you want to make sure you have that pointing up. So this will just screw down into our box like this. And these screws will just screw it into the wall like this. One will go up here. And one will go on the bottom like that. And you just screw it in with your screw gun or your hand screwdriver. So after it's screwed to the box, the inside cover goes in. And see this smaller hole here and that smaller hole here? These 2 little small screws will thread into these little holes here. So this will set on here like that. And these screws would set here. You'd screw it in there, and the other one will be screwed in up here in this little tiny hole up here. The other one will be screwed into that hole, and you'll see it will go into that little hole right there, and this one will go in like this, and the screw holding it in the box will be here and here. Okay, so this cover will just sit in here like this, and it will just snap on like that. And to take it off, you would just take a little tiny screwdriver and push in on this little tab here. See that little tab in here? You would just take a little screwdriver or something, push that little tab up, and it'll just pop off. So I just don't have the right screwdriver with me, but I'm not getting all frustrated. Okay, well, I'll use this here. You just push it in like that, and it pops it off. You'll see how those little tabs come off. And that's how you put the cover on after this is screwed on to the fixture. Okay, the device comes with wire labels. That's the bulb adapter. I'll stand it up so you can see inside.